it sets the pulse for our home, that we're both so committed to these, and Ilya is committed to these too.
Yeah.
And it would deeply impact our relationship if either one of us wasn't doing these things, like any of these things.
Yeah.
Hi, beautiful beings. My name is Brittany.
And I'm Bridgette.
And today we're going to be sharing about lifestyle practices to strengthen your partnership, or that strengthen our partnership, really.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about it from our perspective and the practices we do.
Yeah. Bridgette had this great idea, since it's like the beginning of the year, and there's all this like natural momentum around healthful living at this time of the year.
And like this push to set a lot of goals and intentions and to do. And I think for a lot of people, or the feedback I've been getting in the world and with clients, is it's kind of exhausting.
Totally. It's like a lot of pressure to live up to.
And just to we're still in the dead of winter, and it's this time for tuning in and resting more. And so there can be this like conflicting energy happening. And I think you and I have been doing a good job of honoring the slowness while still nourishing the foresight of visions and intentions.
Yeah, I love thinking about this as like a reflection period and being consistent with the rituals that nourish you.
Yeah, and baby steps, right? Like I think there's all this energy in the beginning of the year to start a lot of things, or to start things that you've not done before, or and that can feel just maybe not sustainable.
Yeah.
And I think the intention of intentions is beautiful, but maybe from a place of, I have found for myself, from this place of like more ease and baby steps.
Yeah, I like integrating one new thing at a time. And once it feels like, cool, that's going, that's easy, it has momentum, bringing in something else.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking today through the lens of relationship, because this channel is really focused around our relationship. And I love this emphasis because relationship, I think, motivates us. Like, it motivates us a lot because we impact someone that we care about so deeply, and we feel the reflection in ourselves. And so when talking about some of these lifestyle choices on their own might not have quite as much meaning, but feeling the value that they provide our relationship,
and like our unit, our
family unit,
our businesses, all the relationships we're in.
Yeah, it brings so much more value to them for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I love that. And that really, like, I think there's different levels of nourishment we can talk about.
Yeah.
Or I guess we're calling this lifestyle practices. So
lifestyle practices.
What are the lifestyle practices that you feel impact us the most?
Yeah, I think the main ones to name that we'll hit on is like our, like the food, what and how we nourish ourselves.
Yeah.
Food and hydration. Movement.
Yeah.
Moving our bodies. Nature, like being outside, connecting with nature, and with that living with more of like the rhythms of nature. We live a lot with like the light of the day, rest,
these like foundational pillars.
And connection, time to really like drop in and connect and play.
I love this. Cool. Should we expand on this?
Well, so something that I think like can feel really basic to name, but actually I don't see happening in a lot of households, that I think has really set us up for success, is how we nourish ourselves and the rhythms we have around that.
I love that. I feel so much more available and capable to like show up for my day. I won't say my day, our day, right? Like So our day consists of running businesses. Maybe that's like a big cooking day or having cooking clients. Maybe that's time with Ilya, nourishing Ilya, making sure he's nourishing, getting nourishment in all the unique ways that that he needs. And then
coaching clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And our self-care practices, our movement practices, and
to do all of that stuff well, we need to be nourished.
Yeah.
And if nourishment is an afterthought, so like if the food and fluids that you're putting into your body to sustain your physical body, because like we are all humans, if that's an afterthought, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, and you're probably acting and living in your day from a state of high cortisol and stress.
Right.
And nothing really feels easeful from that place.
Yeah.
Right? So if we haven't, for me, this used to show up years ago for me, or, even at times where I can let some of my lifestyle practices go, where I'm just waking up, maybe I'm skipping breakfast, maybe I'm having coffee, maybe I'm, right? Like I haven't rooted or grounded into my day, and then everything just feels challenging from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the businesses that we run is a cooking business. So on Mondays when we cook for clients, we cook a little bit for ourselves. We inevitably have some leftover. So that's sets us up with a good amount of food for like half the week. And beyond that, we're just on top of like, if we prepare something, we usually prepare enough for more than one meal. So we kind of like always have food on hand. Bridgette's just runs the show when it comes to like us having food in the house, us having food for clients, etc. So we always have stuff on hand that is easy to make, that we love, and that we know works for our bodies and the nutrients that we need.
Yeah. Yeah, and something else here that's cool is like planning ahead. Right, so when you're sharing, like I always have the things we need. So I kind of always have like making sure we have meat thawed and ready in the fridge. And then having easy meals that, because yes, we have a lot of leftovers in the fridge or meals that we can just prepare really easily, but we also cook some of those meals fresh and having like, a couple, 2 to 3 different meals that you can make in 5 minutes and have a nice 5 to 10 minutes, have a nice hot meal. That has also been impactful for us to just have those things in our fridge.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we sit down and we generally eat at least 2 meals a day as a family.
Yeah.
Like us with Ilya if he's here with us. And sometimes all of our meals in a day.
Yeah.
And that feels important. It feels important to be doing with our child too. Like, this is the time we all sit down, we ground down, we say our gratitude, and like we're present in this really nourishing meal together.
Yeah, and I think breakfast is one that we're really consistent with, and I find kind of to be, I don't want to say the most important, but it really sets the tone for our day, is, making sure Ilya's had enough food and specifically protein.
Yeah, to start the day. Yeah.
This has been something cool we've been working on with Ilya, is like, I would say over the past 6 months, we've really had this emphasis on like grounding nourishment in the morning and making sure Ilya's getting enough protein. He's getting bigger. He's doing a lot of activity. And if he hasn't had enough, it feels like specifically protein, but like
fat,
a grounding, nourishing meal a few times a day, he starts to get really dysregulated in his nervous system. And it's cool to see this, because that happens to all of us, but in a tiny human, it's more highlighted. And so, so it's been fun to see this change in Ilya and how much more regulated he is throughout the day. And he's just like enjoying his life more. He's funnier. He's like, it's just like more of him, because he's full and nourished.
Yeah, and where he had some initial resistance, like he's become so much more playful with it. Like I asked him something yesterday. I was like, Ilya, do you want to share a cake ball with me? These like desserts that I make our clients, and they're really great and healthy and also delicious. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to have my protein and then I'm going to have that. And I was like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really getting it. And I think he's feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
He's feeling like, oh, when I eat, when there's emphasis on a well-balanced meal, I feel good.
Totally.
And he's like able to do so much more.
And it impacts our relationships. Like the way we show up around each other. Like if we haven't eaten and it's getting to be, you know, we've been up for a few hours, like we all get wonky. Yeah. And that impacts one another. And it's just nature.
Yeah. So Food is essential.
And hydration along with that too. I think one of the first things all of us do when we wake up is we have an electrolyte drink. And we have water. Yeah.
Yes. I think these two pieces are really important, and I think they get skipped over because it's like these are things that we do every day, right? It's just like, oh, some people don't even drink water.
Right.
But it's like we are made of water, and it's kind of this foundational piece. But I think because it's so simple, a lot of people just can look past that and forget. And hydration is super important.
Yeah, and so the way you can bring that into a relationship or family is like we all have water bottles. Like we just got Ilya a Camelback. So like Ilya has his own Camelback hydration pack when we're
cruising around on his bike.
And he's like, so cool. I'm parched. Shared it with you the other day. But yeah, like making it, you're going to be doing stuff together anyway. You might as well bond over these healthful lifestyle practices that are going to help you feel better. And they're going to improve your relationships with each other. Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. Movement. I mean, movement is so huge. We love movement. We all love movement so much. And we support each other in making sure that we move every day.
Yeah. And like when we say movement, it could be any type of movement. I think the important piece here is movement that you love, right? I think a lot of people can choose movement or fitness or exercise from a place of like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, or even like punishment or something. Right. So choosing movement that you just love, whether that's a little bit of yoga or dance or taking a walk outside or riding your bike. We love movement, so it's easy for us. But yeah, a movement that you love.
Yeah, and having it built in is really fun. Like having a home that's friendly for movement, whatever that means for you, or a setting around you that's friendly. Like we have a pull-up bar, and Ilya loves swinging on the rings in the garage. And this morning we were all like playing hot lava game and like jumping around from surface to surface. And again, like before we started moving, I could tell Ilya had been sitting too long. Like we were doing Legos and I'm like, let's get up. Like we need to move our bodies. And it shifted our whole brain chemistry. And again, that like deeply impacts how we feel in our relationships with one another. Yeah,
I love that. And so nature, you know, also is a big one. And it's cool having a little human, because you see these like epic reflections.
They're so clear.
But if Ilya's feeling, I don't know, just starting to have a lot of energy, maybe feeling a little dysregulated or whiny or however it could show up, as soon as we get into nature, he's so grounded, he's in a parasympathetic state, he's creative, it's like a whole other brain switch. And that happens for us too. So getting little bits of like morning sunlight, or even a short 10-minute, 5-minute walk, if you have time for that during the day.
Yeah, breathing fresh air, getting your feet on the ground, just like literally being in the vibration of nature, because nature is naturally grounded. Yeah, and I love that word nature too, because it's like all of these practices that we're naming are about getting back to like our natural essence, and like we are nature. Yeah, totally. And and nature is unplugged too, which I think is really important, to like get out of our houses, which, you know, we have our own natural protection in our house around us, but we also have like electrical wires and Wi-Fi and different things like this. And to like get out where you're not immersed in that as much, I think has powerful impact. Yeah, like slows the momentum, the frequency, the busyness. Yeah. Yeah, and so living with the rhythms of nature, something really cool that we practice, that actually I think we both practiced before we met each other, which is kind of a rare one. You don't hear it everywhere, but it's so powerful, is that we don't use lights in the house. We have a couple of salt lamps, like these little salt lamps that plug into the outlet.
Bridgette will show you and kind of maybe see the glow, but it's this warm light. We have these little like night lights almost that are salt lamps all over our house.
But we don't use like normal lights that people use, or like white lights,
blue light.
Yeah, and so how that impacts us, especially this time of year where the sun's setting at like 5:30, is like it's darker in our home when the earth on this side of the earth is going to sleep. Like our bodies feel that, and we start to wind down and get into more of that relaxed state. Yeah, and it's really interesting to have people visit, because like we still have lights in the house, especially in the guest room, but like we don't turn it on. So when we see that light, like it'll be really jarring for my system. And then I remember a time in my life where I would go from like lights on completely, turn them off, go to bed. And there's no wind down. Like that's not how nature naturally does it. Like the sun sets and the sun rises.
Yeah. When people stay with us, they always share that they sleep so deep here, because we're a little more immersed in these like natural circadian rhythms in our home, and it feels really good.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like these shifts are fun, and I mean, like for Ilya's just growing up with them. They're normal. But there's so many things we do when it gets like dark and it's like cozier, and we're like having our games that make sense for the evening time, or like we take a bath.
And we use lights, so like, because we'll read books, and they're all kind of like this amber red salt lampy essence.
Yeah, we have book lights as well.
Yeah.
I think these are the main ones that come to mind.
Feels good. I love nourishing ourselves.
Me too. And like, I'm so grateful that you do this, and that these are practices you're dedicated to, because it sets the pulse for our home, that we're both so committed to these, and Ilya's committed to these too.
Yeah.
And it would deeply impact our relationship if either one of us wasn't doing these things. Like any of these things.
Yeah. If sleep goes, if food goes, we notice like, oh, it impacts the whole.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
If you have some rituals that you'd love to share down below, that sounds so fun to hear about. Like, what are your nourishing practices, or like, how have you been impacted in relationship by practices like this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.